Another secret solved in the Epstein scandal. This time, we now know why the Department of Justice's social media accounts are so aggressively defending Donald Trump. No, exonerating him and preemptively defending him about everything with his name on it, especially what came out in the last 24 hours, including what they're now calling a quote-unquote fake letter handwritten by a fake Jeffrey Epstein that throws Donald Trump under the bus about his love for young girls. Fake letter, folks, not me. But they've already had time. So they want us to believe the FBI, the Department of Justice, has had time to do a full investigation about everything about Donald Trump, and they haven't even finished reviewing the documents, and they're already late? How did they have time to exonerate him already? Well, now we know. Because Axios is reporting that the White House, Trump, is controlling the Department of Justice's social media accounts. Of course. We have a completely not independent Department of Justice that's turned over the keys to its social media accounts to let Donald Trump himself and the people around him write their postings. Everybody in the Department of Justice, leadership level starting first, should resign immediately. They are corrupt. They operate with corrupt intent. Don't look the American people in the eye, tell them it's raining and pee down their leg. Don't tell them that you've exonerated Donald Trump. Did you exonerate Bill Clinton? Did you exonerate former Prince Andrew? Did you exonerate anybody else that's in there? No, just Donald Trump. You're on MeidasTouch. You broke this story and on Legal AF. But now we've got the key that unlocks the door. Trump is calling from inside the house. He's running the social media account for Department of Justice. That's easy. You just write anything you want. FBI has cleared me. Department of Justice has cleared me. Doesn't work in a courtroom. Doesn't work in a courthouse. But I guess it works on a social media post that gets 3 million views before people figure out that you're pulling the strings. This is like ventriloquism when I was a kid. There's a dummy on Donald Trump's lap. Her name is Pam Bondi or Todd Blanche. And he's got his hand firmly up her backside and he's manipulating what she says in social media. That's it, folks. Thank you, Axios. Thank you, MeidasTouch, for letting me do this hot take. Let's get into it. There's reporting that there's another 700,000 pages and then the Trump administration is done with the Epstein release. Yeah, we'll see about that. We've got survivors led by people like Lisa Phillips working with Legal AF. Who's saying, not so fast. We've got our own files. We got 1,200 victims, survivors. We're putting our own notes together, and we got a thing or two to say about whether you're done or not. And there's also a control pile of documents that aren't controlled by the White House that the Democrats have their hands on the Oversight Committee obtained from the Epstein estate. I call it the control file because if what's in here, the control file, isn't released by Donald Trump, the Oversight Committee is going to release it for them. Now, I start seeing very aggressive defense of Trump in the last couple of days. I'm like, look, I know the Department of Justice is not independent, but they want the American people to believe that they've already exonerated Donald Trump. I mean, they can't work their way out of a wet paper bag. How are they? Kash Patel and the FBI cleared it? You know, we had a lot of reporting recently about a handwritten letter that the Department of Justice and Donald Trump's not happy about. It's a quote unquote fake letter. Oh yeah, it's a fake letter written by Jeffrey Epstein and a fake Jeffrey Epstein in fake handwriting that was found just a day or two after he hanged himself in an envelope that was sealed in a jailhouse mailroom that says that Donald Trump likes young, nubile women and likes to grab them by their P word. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Now, I don't know whether this letter is fake or not, but I know the FBI couldn't possibly have cleared Donald Trump already and determined that this is an inauthentic document, a questioned document in 24 hours' time. How could that be possible? And why is it only Trump that the Department of Justice is clearing? What about everybody else? Is it a fake Bill Clinton photo of him in the hot tub? I don't know. They don't know either. But I think that's the point. This goes back to Donald Trump with the birthday book. You know, page 233 of the birthday book. It's got Donald Trump's submission into 50th birthday book put together by Ghislaine Maxwell for Jeffrey Epstein. And every page apparently has been claimed by somebody as being valid, except page 233 or whatever, which is not Donald Trump's birthday submission of an obscene outline of a naked woman, making some weird references to a child sex trafficker and Jeffrey Epstein. Sure, the whole book is true, except your page is fake. Is that it? So let me read to you from some of these things as these letters came out and complaints against Donald Trump came out. Were obvious to me that somebody was pulling the strings behind the scenes, but now we know it was Donald Trump. So every time I read this to you, this is not the Department of Justice. This is Donald Trump's White House writing this. Let's start with the Department of Justice. As soon as I saw this, I knew that there was something rotten in Denmark, as that phrase goes. The Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of the documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. That should be period. End of post. Nope. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false. How do you know that? How do you know that? In a day's time, you're not even done reviewing the files. You're busy, you're drowning in redaction tape and blackout tape. How could you possibly have cleared Donald Trump of this? And who cleared it? Kash Patel's FBI? See, these are all questions that are going to come up in Congress by somebody like the representative who's the ranking member on the House Oversight Committee for the Democrats, Robert Garcia and others. And Jamie Raskin, who are going to be sending letters, if they haven't already, to the Inspector General for the Department of Justice to find out how could this have been done? Who cleared it? How could they have cleared it? Who is the question document expert that cleared it? How did they clear any of this? So for them to declare on DOJ letterhead that it's unfounded and false without a shred of credibility, because if it had a shred of credibility, Biden would have used it against Trump. That's their out. Nevertheless, we're producing these documents. But then they go further about the handwritten letter, right? That is to Epstein, or somebody masquerading as Epstein, 10 years ago in an envelope, to Larry Nassar. Now, we know from other reporting that Epstein was a pen pal and friends with Larry Nassar, a child sex abuser as a doctor of the women's gymnastics team, Olympics gymnastics team. So somebody knew that. Somebody wrote in blue ink and said, our president also shares our love of young nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab, snatch. An obvious reference, pornographic reference to the P word that Donald Trump said he grabbed in his Access Hollywood audio. Now, I don't know whether this is or isn't an authentic document, but neither does the FBI in record time. I've been involved with authentic or inauthentic document cases, what we call questioned document cases. It takes months to get an expert to run all the tests, to get all the samples, the exemplars of signatures, to do a compare and contrast, to look at the ink, to look at the paper, to look at the envelope, to look at, track record of where it ended up. So how could they have possibly done that in overnight? They didn't. Now, this is what they say about the Epstein letter. First, they said there are things about the Epstein letter that appear to question its authenticity. Like, all right, postmark is off, didn't have Jeffrey Epstein's prisoner number on the letter. Okay. I mean, he hanged himself within a day of the letter, apparently, so maybe he had other things on his mind. But here's what they say in their new posting. Written by who? Fill in the blank in comments. The White House, Donald Trump, under the U.S. Department of Justice's seal. The FBI has confirmed this alleged letter from Epstein to Larry Nassar is fake, all in Trump caps. The fake letter was received by the jail. Which jail? I've seen reporting that the jail was the New York Correctional Facility. It was found after he hanged himself in an envelope that was sealed. Was it there, or was it in Nassar's jail where he was located and flagged for the FBI at the time? Who? Who flagged it? Who reviewed it? I've seen reporting that the FBI agent found it, opened it, or mailed it, and then it got a postmark on it, and then they found it and opened it and read it. Who? The FBI made this conclusion. Which FBI? Kash Patel's FBI? Biden FBI? Which FBI? Based on the following facts. Now listen to the facts which actually undermine their argument because they're recycling prior postings. The writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. Not that it doesn't match. It doesn't appear to match. That's a pretty weak conclusion to make after just making the emphatic statement that Donald Trump is cleared of being the person referenced in this letter because the letter is fake, right? And so when even the New York Post, which is controlled by Rupert Murdoch, posted a headline that said the Justice Department is preemptively defending Trump about the latest batch of Epstein files. Now, here's what they wrote, which we're going to put up on the screen again, about the quote unquote fake letter. First, they said the Department of Justice is currently looking into the validity of this alleged letter. And then 24 hours later, they cleared Donald Trump. Just record time, everybody. In the meantime, 3 facts stand out. Now, they didn't say in their first posting that the handwriting didn't seem to match. They said the postmark on the envelope is Virginia, not New York, and Epstein was in New York. The return address listed the wrong jail where Epstein was held and did not include his inmate number, and the envelope was processed 3 days after his death. All right, could have wrote the letter, mailed the letter, sat in the mailroom in the dead letter office. Now, their newest posting goes further. Their newest posting actually clears Donald Trump. Listen to this. The FBI has alleged the fake letter was received by the jail and flagged for the FBI. Now they stick in the writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's, and then they talk about the postmark, the return address, and then they say the following. Talk about defending Donald Trump, but nobody else. Not Clinton, not Prince Andrew, not Ghislaine Maxwell, just Donald Trump, like the birthday card. This fake letter serves as a reminder that just because a document is released by the Department of Justice does not make the allegations or claims within the document factual. Nevertheless, we'll continue to release the documents. And nevertheless, the White House will keep masquerading as the Department of Justice. Again, everybody in senior official land of the Department of Justice, resign now. Your reputation, your integrity as officers of the court, sworn to uphold the Constitution, lies in rags at your feet. Yes, a Bruce Springsteen reference. I'm glad you're here on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. I'm Michael Popak, and together we built a Legal AF YouTube channel that just crossed last week the 1 million subscriber milestone. We're already on our way to 2 million for 2026. The bigger we get, the more we're protected from being crushed by the Trump administration. And so that we continue to be fair news sources for you, subscribe to Legal AF YouTube channel. Till my next report, I'm Michael Popak. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.